used to do. Search in the middle for the man.
Everyone here for being soldiers for the people of the planet and not for the government. Thank you. Thank you.
A few years ago, the demographic of what a homeless person was changed by the government. In order to, I would say, to make the figures more accurate, they took 1,606 people off the homeless register. 1,606 because they don't meet the new criteria. That means our figure is that we have 11,606 people on the homeless register. We are in a position where there is not enough homes for people to go into. The rents in this country are atrocious. So people who do come out of hospital, who do come out of prison, who do find themselves unemployed, who do find themselves with no homes, they cannot afford to put a roof over their heads. So they find themselves homeless, under whichever of the categories you want to go into. Please look it up, lads. Look up homeless in Ireland and you will find such shocking stuff.
Well, here we are in Athlone today. Very cold day, but a very positive day, may I say. I'd like to say hello to Helen Dolan, and Helen is one of the organisers.
No, I'm actually just the MC.
Yeah, but you are one. You do the MC here today,
yeah.
And I must say, Helen, it's a very well organised rally today, as opposed to a demonstration or a march, which they will be doing marching now, but it was a rally.
Yeah.
Very well organised, very interesting speakers.
Fabulous. Yeah.
Fabulous speakers, and of course we have Gemma Doherty here as well.
Yes.
With yourself, your own story, maybe to start with your own story briefly, Helen. You put very much your emphasis on health and on caring.
I did.
And on people who are falling through our health system.
Yeah, my whole passion at the moment is our invisible people, the people that need to be recognised and taken care of. For one, the homeless in Ireland is quite a shocking statistic, and I only really, to my shame, started looking into it 5 days ago, and I have got statistics all over my kitchen now that actually brought me to tears. And I don't think it should be happening in this day and age, or in any day and age, but it should not be happening now. And I do put the burden back on our health minister and on all of our government, because after all, they all have got responsibility there. The big thing for me has to be the carers. I was a carer for many years myself. I think it's important that the government listen now and that they make carers a valued asset of our country, not the invisible people who hopefully might or at some time get back on their feet after their loved ones have died. I loved my parents. I wanted to care for them. Nobody asked me to. I did it.
Okay, so there's not sufficient support out there for
no
caring
support.
for caring for older people.
No.
For family and family circumstances. Now, you did say that one of your roles, and there are many, being a carer, was being a politician, i.e. you were battling the system, you were in there, you had to write letters, you had to canvass, you had to fight for money. Now, just keeping all our interviews short today, we have local elections coming up in 3 months' time. You did say, get out there, vote for the right person.
Yeah, I do. I think it's really important that we stop thinking party politics and we start thinking about people who are effective, who are efficient, people who have a background in making things happen, rather than people who make mad promises. I have had in my life, in the last 12 months, a huge plan imposed on me and my family, but no funding put in place. These kind of stupidities are not acceptable in a country where we're educated people. 100 years ago, we were impressed by the politicians, the priests, and what else, whatever, the Gardaí.
So in short, get people who will fight for the cause.
Get workers out there, get people, and people who aren't afraid to say what they think, but that they're not just talking to hear themselves, they're talking to make positive changes in this country. We need them now. The tie line for today was said at the very beginning of the day was, if you're looking for a time, now is the time. 4 months' time is the time, but please prepare. Do your homework, research the people who are going to become on your doorsteps, ask them the difficult questions, and only vote for people who are going to actually work and make a difference.
Okay, so thank you very much, Helen, for sharing your story today.
Yeah.
It's a great story. You've done well for your family, you're only 60 years of age, and I do think perhaps, how about yourself taking that role in politics?
I don't believe I am tolerant enough to be a politician. I am fairly feisty, and I would rather a politician give
Maybe
me
you're too honest.
could happen. I think if somebody gave me a job to do, I would rather be an implementer and a strategic person and let them do all the talking.
Okay, would like to say again, well done for highlighting your story and
Thank
the
you.
story of many untold stories out there.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Helen
Thank you
Dolan.
for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Susan Reynolds. I'm 20 years in the business, selling and recommending health food products. For 15 years, my business is open. We'll be celebrating 15 years in March of being open. So we're celebrating this with a 23% hike on our supplements.
Well, here we are with Susie and Leonie, and we'll give you the names later, but very much today, a very well organised rally today. The emphasis has been very much on issues that are not highlighted in our media today. And the big issue today maybe was health. And Susan is the owner of
Natural Health.
Natural Health here in Store. Now, for you out there who are not aware, on the 1st of March, 23% VAT is going to be put on all drugs, all health supplements in our stores. Now, that is, many of us did not know that was going to happen. We won't know until we go in to buy our Synatogen or whatever in the health shop next time, and you see the price has 1/4 has risen by 25%. Now that sounds very insufficient, that it's only our vitamins, but it's not. We heard stories today of Lyme's disease and other illnesses that depend on supplements to keep them well. You tell us some of your story.
Okay, I was saying that I'm in business 15 years here, and I believe before the VAT came along, there's been an attack on health. They've been banning our herbs for years, the Irish Medicines Board, now called HPR.
Yes, rightly so. You listed off a name, a load
whole
of
host of
things. Even St. John's Wort is not available here.
But it's more than that. Like,
it's more than
even
that.
I go to order stuff every week.
It's been a
there's something
systemic
else.
attack on this.
It has. They don't want people well. They want people dependent on pharmacy drugs to keep big pharma in business. We have so many pharmaceutical manufacturers in this country. That's what's at the back of this.
So to slap 23% on supplements, that is going to it's going to have an effect on your business.
I'm not sure we can survive this. This in March, I celebrate 15 years of my business being open, and this is how I'm celebrating it. I strongly believe we don't make money as it is. It's all about
But you give a great service to people out there with supplements, and you are told always to go for the alternative rather than to go straight for medicines, straight for the prescription-only medicines. Now, beside you there is Leonie, and Leonie, you told your story. I don't know what your illness was again. Did you actually? Don't think you said what it was.
I did actually MS. I was
You've
diagnosed
MS.
2 years
Okay,
today.
now again, you're one of these people who would have wanted to go for the alternative than rather to go for the big hit. Isn't that right? Now, your story on that was fascinating, and thank you very much for sharing it with us. But again, you're going to be one of these people that's going to be very badly affected on the 1st of March.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the increase in the cost of supplements, it's going to really make a massive difference to me, because at the moment, a supplement that I get from America, I get it in bulk. So instead of paying €300 every fortnight, I get it for 200. So every fortnight when I get paid, €200 gone straight into my credit card to pay that off. And then I go to Susan's every couple of weeks and I buy my other supplements in there. And to be honest with you, I sat down over the last few weeks. I felt great today, because I felt like the only person I was talking to about this all the time was my son, my partner, when I go into Susan. And then today I felt like I could just say it to people and get them for people to realise that it's affecting some people so much. I made up what difference it will make in my financial status. It's huge to me. Like, it's huge.
Too awful even to talk about.
It's horrible, and I mean, the one thing that I get from America that I believe that I've had no further MS attacks from is absolutely a medical breakthrough. It's a complete and utter medical breakthrough. And when I found out about that years back, about 8 years ago, it was going down the pharmaceutical route, because it has huge benefits for so many different diseases, ailments, everything. It's unbelievable. And the pharmaceutical companies were buying it for millions, and the next thing it was shot down, and they want they were going to have to put it underground, and no human being would ever have heard of it. And then the guy that kind of was over the company in America decided to go down the road of word of mouth marketing, and it's out there. But only for I know about that. My health I feel fantastic, but it's because I'm open-minded and I want to heal myself.
Wanting to heal yourself, and for people like Susan who give you the information.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, if I was to take the drugs, the cost of that.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in 5 years' time I'd still be working.
To your health.
Yeah.
Down the line.
About 2 years ago this May, I got a diagnosis. It was a nasty, horrible diagnosis. And I've come a long way from then, but after the diagnosis I started to research into what my future kind of held, with go down the drugs route, and my neurologist was like, there's no other way, you have to go on the drugs. The bigger picture was that I'm a carer, I'm a social care worker, I look after people with disabilities. And when I went back to work eventually, I was looking at those people and I was thinking, oh my God, I'm actually going to be worse than you probably in 20 years' time. I couldn't think about my future, to be honest. I couldn't think of 6 months or a year. And my partner, Alan, I said it to him after a few months, I said, Alan, I can't actually cope with this, because I put a smile on my face and I was telling everybody, I'll be fine, I'm going to get through it, I'll be grand. And then I had another attack very close after the second attack, and I was told that I had a very active multiple sclerosis, and I thought, oh my God. And my mother probably thought she was doing me the world of good, bringing me to a talk by Marion Carroll that was Cured and Knock. But when Marion spoke about her symptoms, I thought to myself, oh my God. So I started thinking, I have to take the drugs. And then I started looking into natural healing. And I'm a firm believer that there's, like, for thousands of years, humanity didn't stay going from drugs and antibiotics, and I think a lot of us are brainwashed into drugs are very important, and you can't get over certain illnesses, diseases and injuries without drugs and the help of doctors. I'm not putting them down, but there is a whole natural world out there if we do the research, there is healing. So I started to do the research, and I, thank God to social media, I got onto Facebook and I got in contact with hundreds of people that had my diagnosis, and I was shocked when I was talking to them, and they were like 35 years ago diagnosed, 20 years ago, and nearly sent them free, but they had gone down the drugs route and it didn't work for them. So they went into a huge research themselves to try and heal themselves, and I started to believe then. I thought, oh my God, I'm actually not going to be in a wheelchair. I'm not going to have somebody feed me. I'm going to be okay. And then my main supplement that I take from America, I get it in bulk. Every fortnight I pay for that. When I got the third attack and it hit me bad with really bad fatigue, I thought to myself, I'm not going to be able to stay working. So I started taking high doses of that, and it made a massive difference. Literally after a few days, with the advice from a doctor in America, I was a completely different person. I've never looked back since.
I'd like to have a word here with yourself.
Shirley.
Tell me your name. Shirley, you spoke very, very graphically and very honestly about your battle with Lyme's disease.
Yeah.
Now, I'm shocked, and I'm pretty much reading the news and everything to know that there is not a proper diagnostic system in Ireland to diagnose Lyme's disease. No. I'm shocked.
We have a blood test here in Ireland, but it's not accurate enough. It's a screening process, so it doesn't pick up the majority of cases. So I've had 2 tests done. I've also had a test done in France, and they were all negative.
Yeah. So one of the things that you're fighting for, that you would like to see to come out of a movement like the Yellow Vest movement, is proper diagnostic systems in here in Ireland. It's only fair, isn't it?
We have asked for 3 things from the government. We have asked for 1, accurate testing to be put in place, 2, for treatment to be put in place for people for an adequate amount of time. So the appropriate treatment for the adequate amount of time. It's not enough just to throw a few antibiotics at somebody for a few weeks. In my case, as I said, it was over 3 years.
Yeah. Of course, Lyme's disease is a chronic disease, meaning that you will have it always, and you will get
relapses.
Relapses, that's the word. Looking forward on your health, How positive are you looking forward?
I'm very positive. I wouldn't have gone abroad to 2 different countries if I wasn't positive that I would get a quality of life back. I'm 40 years of age. I don't have the privilege of having children, but I don't want to go into the future not being able to go and do daily things with my family and friends. I'm not happy enough just to sit or lie and stare at the ceiling all day, every day.
Okay, well, thank you very much again for sharing your story. It's a heart-rending story, but there is light, and you have done very well for yourself, and keep up the good work, and thank you for talking to us.
Thank you. My name is Shirley Moran, and I'm from Athlone, and I have chronic Lyme disease. This is my story. I'll keep it very brief, but it could just as easily be yours. Some people know me or may have heard me as that girl who got bitten by a tick. But I never in a million years did I think I'd ever find myself to be in the position that I'm in today. Or that I would be standing here in front of you all to tell you my story. You may look at me and think to yourself, well, she doesn't look that sick. But you see me here today, and for me today is a good day. Chronic illness is a bit like an iceberg. You only get to see the top section, you never got to see what's underneath. Thankfully you don't get to see me when I'm like a rag doll at home, and I can be a fairly scary sight. I can be in bed for maybe weeks at a time, often in the dark or needing to wear a mask as my eyes are so sensitive to light. There are days where I'm in so much agony that I literally cannot do anything. So if you don't mind giving me the time to listen to my story, just for a few minutes, it may stop this happening to you or someone else you care about.
Thanks to all of you for being here today. I have no doubt that you are all real patriots who care about our country and its future. All around Ireland today there are other Yellow Vest movements gathering in Dublin, I believe possibly in Donegal, Galway, so don't feel that this is an isolated event. It's also the case that all across the continent today, especially in France, the Yellow Vest movement is gathering pace, and it is now an unstoppable force because it is standing up against the forces of globalism that seek to destroy our continent, that seek to destroy our national identities, our sovereignty, our health, and our futures.
Well, with me now needs no introduction now at this stage, is Gemma O'Doherty, investigative journalist, and almost chucked into prison last week, but we won't mention anything about that. No, Gemma, what I'm trying to say is well done on your stance and your stance with Google last week. Your channel was taken down once again. I don't really understand why, but it was. But you went in there with some of the Yellow Vests and you made your stance and you're reinstated, and well done. Free speech.
Yeah,
Power
free
to speech.
Well, that's it. I mean, there's so much censorship going on, Áine, at the moment. And I didn't only go in to defend my own channel, but also to defend, all of those who are speaking out about globalism, who are being shut down by Google, a pillar of globalism, every single day. Google, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, they've come to our country. They're on very, very generous tax rates. That's the only reason they're here. But they're not respecting people's views, and especially the ordinary citizens for whom people like me, we feel that we are a voice for those who are speaking out against corruption, against homelessness, against the austerity that has been inflicted upon us by the corrupt banking elite, the corrupt unelected bureaucrats in Brussels and the United Nations. So it's very important that we preserve our right to free speech.
It's all running in tandem, and we hear about this Agenda 21, looking forward to the 21st century. Now, I think we don't know enough about this, and for the people like you who are making it known, I mean, when you think about it and actually see it falling into place, it's pretty scary.
It is terrifying, actually, and you know, I wasn't
It's
really.
happening.
It's happening. I mean, it's happening. It's communism. It's a form. It's a digital dictatorship. It's about monitoring our every move. It's, you know, all being done. All of this homelessness, all of this health crisis. It's all being done by design, not by accident. There's no reason why at this point in our history we should not be able to house all of our citizens, to look after them, to have a proper healthcare service. But unfortunately, there is a cabal being, you know, run by the banking families of Europe, the United Nations, and these people.
When we say they want to do this. They want to shut down urban society. They want to get us up into the big smart cities, they're calling them now. When you say there, name them. Come on. Global
Well,
bankers.
I mean, this reminds me of
one government world.
Yeah, well, one world government is what they want.
Yeah.
They want to create. They call it their new world order. It's a long, long plan. It's been around for a long, long time, and they are gradualists. They don't mind taking their time and implementing it gradually, because they know that if they do it too quickly, which they're starting to do now, the people will waken up to it. But I suppose when we talk about, you know, who they are, people often ask that, and it is. We are talking about the Rothschilds, these very elitist banking families. George Soros, the Hungarian billionaire who lives in America now. We're talking about the people who control our banks, because that's what the people who control our money supply.
Okay, so they're trying to hurry us on. They want to do a march now in Athlone to show support and to make the Yellow Vest rally known. Gemma, we want to know, how can we stop this? We're letting them know we know. What can we do to maybe stop some of this?
Well, the first thing I urge everyone to do is do what I have done and educate yourself about it fully. Join all of the dots, you know, about the mass medication of our water supply, vaccinations, what it is all about, why people are being made debt slaves. Intentionally. There's no reason for anyone in the 21st century to be a slave to debt in the first world. So what is that all about? There's no end of really good videos on YouTube for as long as they can be there. They are still there. Educate yourself, educate other people, stand for election. Encourage people to stand for none of the parties in the Dáil can be trusted at this stage.
Okay,
none
Gemma,
of them.
so
They're all globalists.
Yeah, so politics is the way to go, independent politics. Gemma, just to let everybody know, to educate themselves, we want them to watch, to subscribe to your channel and to watch your live streams, which are excellent. Your interviews with amazing Polly, great stuff. Yeah, so people tune into this, not mainstream media, as you know.
Yes, give up mainstream media, because it is affecting people. It's brainwashing people, Áine. And yeah, there's, you know, as I say, there's plenty of good channels.
So log on
YouTube.
to one of them. Plenty of channels to log on, but to log on to yours is Gemma O'Doherty, and subscribe to your channel and watch. And you do a live stream almost every evening, don't you?
I do, yeah, nearly every evening during the week, yeah.
Well,
and
done.
we'll be continuing that and intensifying it now, because we are down to the last few years of survival for our continent and our country. Once these globalists, they say about maybe 12 years.
Well done. Thank you so much, Gemma. Thank you on behalf of the people here today, and actually to Ireland, for the work of making people know. Thank you for the work, and thank you for letting us know.
Thank you, Áine, for your great work.
Thank you.
The people of Ireland have been asked to suffer globally new incentives, and by joining the Yellow Vest movement and getting to understand what it's all about, it's a chance. It's a chance to help save your children's future and children's future, because this is a real war, a globalism war against the people. The hospital beds, the scandals, the corruption, the cover-ups, the smoke screens, and the people of Ireland now.
What the rights?